What if I told you the way you listen to music today? Streaming playlists, instant downloads, unlimited access. All began with two teenagers and a rebellious little program. No billion-dollar corporation, no major record label, just a dorm room, a slow internet connection, and an idea that would flip the music industry upside down. It's a story about innovation, piracy, lawsuits, and a cultural revolution that forced one of the most powerful industries in the world to change forever. This isn't just about a piece of software, it's about how technology, for the first time, outran the law, and how millions of people joined in without even realizing they were part of history. And it all started in 1999. In 1999, two teenagers changed music forever. Not with a hit single, not with a record label, but with a piece of software. In less than 2 years, their creation would shake the entire music industry, ignite legal battles worth millions, and pave the way for Spotify, Apple Music, and the way you listen to songs today. This is the story of Napster, the program that broke the rules and built the future. Before Napster, music was a physical product. Vinyl records, cassette tapes, and CDs. That's how you got music. If you wanted the new album from your favourite band, you had two choices: buy the physical CD from a store, or hope to catch it on the radio. In the late 90s, the CD industry was booming. Music stores like Tower Records, Sam Goody, and HMV were cultural hubs. Albums cost around $15 to $20, and major record labels, Universal, Sony, Warner, EMI, and BMG, dominated the market. And here's the kicker: if you only liked one song, too bad. You still had to buy the whole album. The industry loved this setup. High profit margins, total control over distribution, and no real alternative for consumers. Meanwhile, the internet was slowly becoming part of everyday life. Dial-up connections were noisy, slow, and prone to cutting out. But they were opening new doors. AOL chat rooms, Yahoo search, GeoCities, websites, and email were just starting to connect the world. Music files, in the form of MP3s, were already out there, a format that compressed music enough to be shared online. But finding those files was a nightmare. Early search engines weren't optimized for them. Many sites hosting them were riddled with viruses, and downloads could take hours. If the download failed halfway through, you'd have to start all over again. The music industry was still in control, or so it thought. In 1998, Fanning was a 19-year-old freshman at Northeastern University in Boston. Like most college students, he loved music. And like most, he was frustrated by how hard it was to get songs online. He spent late nights chatting in online forums, playing games, and exploring the edges of what the internet could do. One night, a friend was complaining about how hard it was to find MP3s, and the idea struck: what if there was a program that acted as a central hub, where users could search for and download music directly from each other? No sketchy websites, no endless searching, just instant access. Fanning started coding. His idea was bold: connect people's computers directly so they could share files instantly, while maintaining a searchable index of every song available. This peer-to-peer concept wasn't brand new, but no one had applied it to music sharing in such a user-friendly way. By mid-1999, with help from Sean Parker, a fellow tech prodigy who would later become a key figure at Facebook, the project had a name: Napster. The nickname came from Fanning's high school days, where his curly hair earned him the joke that he looked like he'd just woken from a nap. Napster wasn't the first file-sharing tool, but it was the first to feel effortless. It combined a simple, easy-to-use interface with centralized search results and a direct peer-to-peer transfer system. The barrier to entry was almost non-existent. You downloaded Napster, typed in the song you wanted, and in seconds you'd see dozens, sometimes hundreds, of available copies. The growth was explosive. In September 1999, Napster had a few thousand users. By March 2000, over 20 million. At its peak, it would reach nearly 80 million registered users worldwide. For college students, especially those on high-speed campus internet, Napster was a dream. You could download entire discographies in hours. For home users on slower dial-up connections, it was still revolutionary, even if it meant leaving the computer running overnight. The more people joined, the more music was available. It was the ultimate network effect. For the first time, listeners weren't limited by what record labels decided to sell or what radio stations decided to play. They could get what they wanted, when they wanted, for free. The record industry did not see this as innovation. They saw it as a threat, a direct attack on their control and profits. In December 1999, the Recording Industry Association of America, or RIAA, sued Napster for massive copyright infringement. But the most public backlash came from an unlikely place: Metallica. In March 2000, the band discovered that an unfinished track, I Disappear, was being played on radio stations before its official release. The leak came from Napster. Metallica sued, not just Napster, but its users. They submitted a list of more than 335,000 usernames they claimed were sharing their music illegally, demanding those users be banned from the platform. It was a move that shocked fans and triggered heated debate. Some sided with Metallica and the RIAA, arguing that artists deserved to be paid for their work. Others saw Napster as a way to fight back against an industry that had long overcharged and underdelivered. The battle wasn't just legal, it was cultural. Napster became a symbol of rebellion, of technology outpacing the old guard. The legal fight moved quickly. In July 2000, a federal judge ordered Napster to shut down. Napster appealed, temporarily avoiding closure, but the tide had turned. By early 2001, after losing multiple legal rounds, the company was forced to begin blocking copyrighted material, which gutted the platform's usefulness. In July 2001, Napster shut down completely. It had gone from a billion-dollar cultural phenomenon to bankruptcy in just 2 years. But the end of Napster didn't end file sharing. In fact, it lit a fire. Other peer-to-peer networks popped up almost instantly: Kazaa, LimeWire, eDonkey, BearShare. These were harder to shut down because they didn't have a central server. The industry could sue individual users, but by then piracy had become part of internet culture. The real turning point came when someone realized that people weren't opposed to paying for music. They just hated the restrictions and inflated prices. In 2003, Apple launched the iTunes Store, selling individual songs for 99 cents. It was legal, easy, and available worldwide. Steve Jobs famously pitched it to record labels as a way to combat piracy, but in reality, it was an entirely new model. You could finally buy just the songs you liked, download them instantly, and play them on your iPod. It didn't end piracy, but it proved that convenience was the key to winning consumers back. Napster didn't survive, but its DNA is everywhere in today's streaming services. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, they all operate on the same basic promise Napster pioneered: unlimited music, instantly, on demand. Even social aspects of modern streaming, playlist sharing, friend activity feeds, song recommendations, echo the community Napster built in its short life. Napster proved that music could be digital first, that access could matter more than ownership, and that the old model of $18 albums for one hit song was on borrowed time. Today, the Napster name still exists as a legitimate streaming service, but to those who were there in 1999, it means something else entirely: rebellion. It was the moment when the internet's culture of sharing collided with one of the most entrenched industries in the world, and won, at least for a little while. Sean Fanning and Sean Parker didn't set out to destroy the music industry. They set out to connect people with the music they loved, but in doing so, they triggered one of the biggest cultural shifts in modern entertainment, forcing an entire industry to adapt or fade away. Napster's life was short, but its impact was permanent. The next time you open Spotify, hit play on a playlist, and hear a song instantly, remember. It all started with a kid in a dorm room, a dial-up modem, and a little program called Napster. This was Path to Pivot, exploring the rise and fall of tech that changed the world. Subscribe for more untold stories of innovation, disruption, and reinvention.